Man, when I think about artists who take publishing from songwriters, don't pay a songwriter fee, don't pay anybody for their time, and are rich, you don't feel weird being able to afford to take care of everybody that makes your career possible? The executives that are like taking the publishing, you don't feel nothing when you gotta go press these writers to be like, yo, so-and-so's taking 30%, 20%, 15%. You don't, where is y'all soul?
So back to what I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? Welcome to Life On Podcast, where we listen and inspire friends in entertainment.
And everywhere.
Because life happens to everyone. I am your co-host, Stone Stafford.
I'm Johnny Vaughn. Hi.
Yeah, and welcome. Thanks for your support. Go ahead and click that like and subscribe and tell your friends. We appreciate those of you guys that do that. We're still trying to hit that 1 million subscribers in 2023. We are in August.
We are a percentage away from 1 million subscribers in 2023.
Season of football, people.
Yeah.
So, not to sound rushed, but we kind of need y'all to step it up.
I'm not going to say what percentage, but we are a percentage away from 1 million.
We are a percentage away. This is true. So, look, it's really nothing. And everyone that does share it, they usually tell me, I'm so glad that I shared it. So, appreciate that. Some of you guys know I'm a songwriter. All right. Now, I haven't written in a little bit.
Go ahead and say a long
Matter of fact, I think I owe you guys a Christmas song.
I wouldn't.
Don't I? I do. I owe you a Christmas song.
I wasn't going to say nothing.
That's all good. But yeah, so I'm
Wait. We have an instrumental track for the Christmas song. I just want to say that.
We do have an instrumental track. Yeah, some come up kid, made an instrumental track. But and then when I was songwriting, and I got some stuff on Keke Palmer and on some copyright on Justin Bieber and all this kind of stuff. Not a flex, but I'm saying it quietly, just kind of let you know that I've kind of been in the trenches of what we're going to talk about. So when I was a songwriter, I was in a group. And that's where I learned to songwrite. And my manager at the time, a guy named Greg McPherson, not Greg, I'm sorry. This was, it was Greg McPherson. And he said that publishing is where all the money is in music. So yeah, the Greg McPherson and Nat Robinson, I can't remember. Shout out to both of them.
Yeah.
Learned a lot. So when he told me that, I was like, I need to look at this publishing thing. So I did and became a music publisher. All right, so I had a chance to work for Sony. I ran a Sony office here in Atlanta for like 4 years, and then went over to Jermaine Dupri's, So Def, worked over there for a while, and I knew the importance of publishing. In those roles, I really learned the game of music that most people don't deal with. And I don't want to just say shady right out the gate, because everything about the music business isn't shady. So I want to be clear, but there's a nice high percentage.
There's a lot of it. Quite a bit.
And I started noticing that, when trying to get people on projects and this and that, like people would start asking for stuff that they didn't earn. Now, instead of using ambiguous examples, I will use my own personal one. Okay. So I had a baby girl. Listen to me. I had a producer named Baby Girl.
What's up, Baby Girl?
Right. Dope female producer. She did this record called Common Denominator. And this guy, Scooter Braun, he was bringing up this kid named Justin Bieber. Scooter heard the record, loved it, said, man, we need to cut this on Justin. Actually, we already cut it on Justin. I'm getting my facts mixed up. Anyway, I'm going to edit that part out. But so we cut it on Justin. Loved it. He wants it to be a single. Scooter wanted it to be a single on him. And I remember I was in the C Room here at Icon Studios. And Scooter was like, so look, man, and Scooter and I knew each other from So Def. And so he was like, look, I'm really trying to get this kid going and established in the industry and blah, 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 blah. So what do you think about, we let him have, some publishing on the song. Now, Baby Girl was 100%er. So she wrote and produced the song. And so I told Scooter, I said, man, Scooter, you know how I feel about that. Like, I don't like just giving away publishing like that. And I said, not only that, this is Baby Girl's publishing. I get a share of her publishing, but like this is hers. And so I said, I'd have to talk to her about it. And he's like, look, I'm telling you, Justin's going to be huge, this and that. So he's selling it. And I'm still just like, I don't know. So finally he comes up with the line, said, well, look, I'm working on a publishing scenario with, I think it was Warner or somebody at the time, Warner Chappell, and I'm going to need somebody to run it. And so I was like, all right, man. So I decided to go ahead and let him get 10%. So anyway, ask me if I ever worked for Warner. Well, not for Warner, but ask me if I ever ran Scooter's publishing company.
Yeah, no.
Right. So yeah, I got fugazi for sure. But that's because my mind really was just on Baby Girl. It wasn't on making a savvy business decision.
Right.
Trust me when I say lesson learned.
Sure.
But
it only takes one time to bump your head before you.
Right, exactly. And so, like I said, at the end of the day, everything goes and, you know, the album comes out, whoop-de-whoop. So Justin got his little 10%. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the first person and the last person he did that to for everyone. So, and, you know, people, even Beyonce was known for doing that. And I'm not calling these people out because it was a common practice. So
I mean, it goes back super far. I don't have any personal stories. Obviously, the one that I remember that I'm always mad about is the Elvis Presley one. Because
on the Hound Dog?
On everything.
Oh.
Elvis used to get 1/3 of the publishing for everything he cut, just for recording the record.
Just for recording.
And I mean, this I'll never forget this quote. This is actually what made me stop liking him and why I started researching why I didn't like him. He actually said, "I get 1/3 just for recording. It makes me look smarter than I am."
Hey, you know what? At least he's honest.
He was honest about it, but I mean, it's one of those things that I think was hidden for so long because we know a lot of those records that he cut, where they came from, the artists that got shafted, the songwriters that didn't get.
But Hound Dog, there's no way in the world he could have gotten publishing on Hound Dog. Now that song was done twice.
Yeah,
actually, it was done more than twice.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did. He probably still got the same 1/3. I bet.
Right.
But I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's a good point. I didn't know that.
This is how far back it goes. I mean, that was in like 49, 50, 1949.
Yeah. So it's been going on forever. It's a practice, and that's the kind of stuff that makes people fear the shadiness, you know, of the music industry and stuff. Which is why you make sure you follow your MBC, Music Business Coach, on Instagram, because I put y'all up on game. And I'm not the only one. You know, there's a lot of people that do that. Shout out to Lamont Graves. Shout out to Wendy Day. Look up her podcast. She's with 2 other guys. It's called The Cheat Code. The Cheat Code. You know, follow them. The God Show with boy Ray Daniels. Follow them. So there's plenty of us out there that are putting y'all on game so you can't fall victim to these mistakes. Okay, but if you do, I mean, it's your fault. So I'm just calling a spade, man. So anyway, when I was at So, I signed this girl, Crystal Johnson. And, you know, amazing.
Call her by her name.
Yeah, man. Crystal Johnson. That's that. I mean, not only a talented person, but then just a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey, Janet Jackson, Rihanna.
All of everybody.
And the hits too. Yeah. That's the thing. So I remember, now I won't call a name out on this one because this person's still active and there's still the chance we can cross all this. But I remember when she went to go work with this person, and I remember she hit me. She had her manager Tricky, Tricky Biz, who knows a lot about this game. So she talked to him, and one time we were talking. So she's like, "Stoney, you know, he's asking for X amount of publishing," and I was like, "Why?" So I'm not trying to give that up. Doop. And this person's policy was that if you worked in his studio, you give up a certain amount of publishing. So needless to say, she wasn't feeling that. I know Tricky wasn't feeling it. Now, he may have made some savvy moves for business purposes, but I already know he wasn't feeling that. And she wasn't feeling it either. And with this person on a personal level, I kind of felt some kind of way because this person was a publicly proclaimed like man of God. You know what I mean? And it's not that he was sinning, but I'm kind of like, come on, bro. You already know that this is the church. This is in the gray.
No, the church gets paid. So I mean, why he's practicing exactly what goes on.
No, I get it. So at the end of the day, you're paying for opportunity.
Yes,
you're paying for opportunity.
And
so that's why I say it's in the gray.
Yeah,
you know, it's in the gray because at the end of the day, it is taking advantage of a situation. I mean,
a lot of people put that in and
call a spade a spade.
Yeah, put that in your know your worth category. And I've noticed that from a lot of people that take that approach to it is that they know what they're offering you, the access they're giving you. And
Okay.
You thought I know where you.
Yeah, you
I
already
know
knew
where you thought I was going.
Talk on it.
Yeah.
Speak on it.
No, I know.
Speak on it, man.
But no, that I've seen a lot of people do that where they know that they're the gateway, so they put that price tag. This is the price tag for having access to that gateway. I will let you do. What you
so let's use that phrase. So when Johnny said, you know, you got to know your worth. Usually, people think the person trying to get on, knowing their worth.
But
look, you always gonna think you worth something,
exactly,
which you should. You should. And for those of you who don't, you are worth something.
You is special.
You are special. You are loved. You is beautiful. But so we're not saying that. So let's rephrase that phrase.
Okay.
Not know your worth, but know what people know about your worth. Right? So here's an analogy.
What?
When they say it's not who you know,
It's who knows you.
right? It's who knows you.
Okay.
And I think it's more important to be like, well, is who will take your call.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
L.A. Reid knows me.
Right. But he answered the
If I pick up the phone, he's not answering the phone.
Okay.
Right? Unless we're doing some specific business, he's not answering the phone. So when I say know what people know what you're worth, do you think I'm worth it? Because I can think I'm worth it all day long.
Right.
But if you're a come up person, no credits to your name, I don't care how talented you are, you're not really worth much to me, even though you think your value is worth. So so understand that. So I want to clear up that phrase, and I hope I didn't make it any more confusing.
Well, I mean, the initial statement.
was a little,
convoluted.
it was more than just know your worth.
Yeah.
But in your case, this big producer, he knew his value to that person.
Right.
And so he's like, look, you coming at me, so this is the cost of admitting.
Right.
So when you come across that, folks, what do? You had this opportunity to work with Drake, but Drake's like, and I'm not saying Drake did this, so let me get on the record.
Well, that's one of my examples, so we're going to talk about that.
Oh, well, if you have some facts, then
Well,
cool.
it's not so much that I have the facts. The whole Quentin Miller thing, when Drake was going on his back-to-back and the ghostwriting stuff came out,
Right.
and everybody was like, well, Quentin's got all of these, he's got all of the demo records of the stuff he did for Drake, and then you can hear the final cuts, and then Quentin came on and was like, yeah, I didn't get paid for any of that stuff. So you start seeing that, how long Quentin Miller was riding with Drake
Right.
for that stretch, which I think was a year and a half, 2 years. Who knows how many countless of records.
Okay,
he
well, I
did.
just happened to say Drake by
But I mean, that's.
by circumstance.
I mean, that was big, dude.
But so
Yeah.
you got this opportunity. You can work with Drake. What do you do? Are you going to be like, nah, I ain't trying to give up my publishing? or are you going to get on the Drake album, which has a higher chance than not of generating some revenue for you? So it is a calculated risk that you have to take. But
Talk about how calculated it is too, because there's another example for a calculated risk with St. John. We talked about St. John
St.
before
John, yeah.
with the Usher situation, and he actually, and you said the math was a little funny, but he was on a podcast where he broke down the math of how the streaming stuff worked.
Right.
And I can't remember which record it was, but he ended up coming away with, was it $1,500 or something like that?
Yeah, it was something cheap.
And he was like, if I would have put the record out, and he waited for like 2 or 3 years for the record to come out. So he
Right.
was like, when you're waiting for these artists, they've got your future in their hands. They move on their own time. You've written all of this stuff. He probably haven't gotten a writer's fee, which is something that, producers aren't getting producers fees anymore. Like when that stuff starts to go
producers
away,
aren't getting producer fees.
I'm hearing that stuff happening everywhere, is it not?
Heck, I don't know a single producer that produces for free. Now, they're not getting the kind of fees they used to get.
Well, that may be what the statement is.
Yeah, well, I don't know a single producer that's producing for free.
I'm hearing producers and writers standing together saying that people trying to get them to come in and do stuff.
And they probably are. And don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying there's never been a producer that hasn't done it for free. But again, it goes back to what the opportunity was.
And,
Did they want to get the opportunity?
Right. But I bring that example up. And I could be way off on that. Kid Class posted this the other day too. He was like, man, I only go to the club now. I just go to see what songs I should sample, which was hilarious to see him write that. Because I don't know what that landscape is for people who are producing now.
Right.
Is everything on spec? Are you still getting everything? I don't know. I know writers are going unpaid a lot at this point.
For sure.
But the St. John point was for that. He was like, if I would just put it out myself, I could have made $10,000, which is almost 10x what he actually got for waiting 3 years for Usher to put it out. Now, is the experience or the access or the exposure that he got from having his name in that credits more valuable than that 10x that he would have got on his own?
Right.
Possibly. I don't know. But that's one of those calculated things I think you're talking about that kind of gets overlooked.
Yeah, and you got to, because look, I'm the first, like I did with Scooter. Like this was an opportunity for my producer to get on this kid who was going to, everyone knew Justin was going to blow up. It's one of them things where you knew. Yeah. And that doesn't come around a whole lot, but it's one of them things you knew. And so, I wanted to do the opportunity. Now, granted, it worked out because now this is the thing, and this is where I think we did a podcast before, or I did a coaching clip before, again, with my friend Crystal, where we worked on Keke Palmer. And I just rewrote some lyrics. It was nothing big, but it did kind of change the perspective of the song. But it was small changes. And I just asked for like 1%. And she was like, yes, Tony, you can have it, because she approved of it. But those credits on those 3 songs got me a call from Craig Coleman, the freaking CEO of WEA back then, or Atlantic it was. You know, he was like, hey, we're loving these songs, da da da. He doesn't know that on 2 of those songs I only had 1%. All he saw was the credit. You know what I mean? So that's part of your thing. If you don't hustle, if you don't go out there and grind and make relationships and make moves all on your own and stuff like that, don't sacrifice it. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to pay off for you. Yeah. But if you can go out there and parlay those credits into the next piece of work, then you're going to find that you're giving up less and less. Hopefully you only give it up once, especially if that first, credit. So like, you work with Drake. Drake's like, well, I want half of this. You know what I mean? You're like, oh. And you can negotiate, well, if you're trying to get half, this needs to be a single. In writing. Yeah. All right.
And if said does fail, then you get something else on the back.
Right. It's got to be contingent. Yeah, it's got to be an if-then clause in that. So make it worth giving it up, And again, they may still say no. And you still may be like, gosh, is this going to be worth it? Me personally, if I'm in that position, I'm going to do everything I can to market and promote that situation, to market and promote myself. I might have some videos with me and Jake. You know what I mean? I might have some silent clips of us writing. But you're going to know I was working with this dude, Drake. You know what I'm saying? And then you take those credits and then you go to the next thing. And then your next meetings are, what have you done? Oh, I just got out with Drake. I just got finished working with Drake. Can we talk about the whole working with thing?
Sure.
Just because you doing a song for somebody that you want to pitch it to?
Oh, for and with aren't the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the difference in for and with.
Working for somebody and working with somebody.
Yeah.
Big difference. Because you can work for anyone you want, and they have no clue you're working for them.
That's very true.
But I understand it's wordplay, it's gameplay, yo. So some of y'all don't know that, so I'm put you up on game. So Tiffany Red, the clip you guys just watched.
Yeah.
She has become a huge advocate for songwriters where this is concerned. Essentially, she's like, "Look, we tired of taking it with no Vaseline." I mean, not her words, but ice cubes. But that's where she's at, and I'm proud of her for it. You have a question, and I would ask her this myself. We should invite Tiffany on here.
I think she'll do it. Yeah,
I think she would too. Tiffany's worked out of Icon several times. The tactic. I gotta wonder, because I'm 1,000% behind her, and you feel the girl's passion.
No question.
You got to be deaf, dumb, and blind not to feel her passion. And I would want her on my team, but sometimes she's so impassioned in some of these posts. I wonder if it could count against her. The whole "you catch more flies with honey" type of thing. What do you think?
I think that the times are changing enough that she's approaching it the way she needs to approach it. For who she's talking to and who she's trying to galvanize.
And like just calling people trash. I mean, I think the safety net here is she hasn't really blasted anyone out by name.
Well, and that's the thing. So
that's the safety net.
She warns it too.
She wants to. Yeah.
She's like, I could drop the name. She's good for saying that, and she can.
Right.
But I think it's gone on so long, and it's spreading too. Because I mean, you're seeing it with the whole writer's strike in the Hollywood side with TV stuff too. The AMPTP is all of the companies that are usually competitors that are fighting for percentages of other people's money are coming together now to figure out how to not pay writers. Like it's crazy. So when you see that stuff starting to spread out past just what your industry, I think that's what she's seeing it now.
And that's
it's
what
getting to be too big.
I'm saying that's what she needs, honestly, to the writing community out there. Like Tiffany needs all of us to band with.
Yeah.
Like don't just like the posts, like the comments. When these producers, producers who have made it, if you will, when they're trying to call in these writers and they notice that after every single writer, they're not just giving up publishing. It's like, man, they're going to be like, I can't seem to find no writers anymore. No, that's not true. It's like, I can't seem to find writers who I'm just automatically going to demand publishing from.
Right.
When that becomes a thing, then times are going to change. But if it's like, dang, I want to work with Tiffany, but she the only writer to be coming here not letting me give no publishing. Guess what? They're going to be like, well, we ain't working with Tiffany.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's a bold move, and Tiffany's not the only one.
No.
But she's definitely one of the most vocal about it. So that's very brave of her to do that. But like as songwriters, we can't just stand by and just let her take all the bullets because they're going to be bullets.
Well, I think it's you're starting to see it happen because I remember when those posts were only getting 100, 200 likes. Like she's hitting 7, 8, 1,000, 15, 200. So like it's starting.
Well, that's kind of to my point though, and that's the only thing about social media. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a cell phone activist.
Well, that's true, but at the same time, it's.
I mean, not Tiffany. We're talking about people that are liking and comment, and their activism ends with a like and a comment.
And I get you with that, but it's a percentage game too. Because like if 200 people are seeing it and you're looking to get 10% active,
sure,
you need 2,000 people to see it to get 200.
I'm just encouraging everyone to do a little bit more than just like and comment.
And it's another thing with it too is that it's going to happen more and more as you start seeing more people get affected by it, and it's that out of sight, out of mind, or until it's on my doorstep, it's not a problem kind of situation. Right. So like me, I can't relate because I don't have stories like that. The one situation I shared way back was the potential Universal deal where it was a staff producer thing and they were just going to give us a salary and we had to turn in X amount or whatever. And there was no publishing. There was no residual anything. We were just on staff.
Well, as a staff producer, for sure.
That's your job is to do that. So you write the #1 record in the world and it makes $1 billion. You get that $100,000 a year for whatever that was until that's not your job no more.
Now, I agree with something that Tiffany said too because Tiffany's an A-list writer.
Yeah.
All right. Top names, right? But you shouldn't be an A-list writer and people still asking for your publishing. That shouldn't even be happening.
But that's where it's come to now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And that shouldn't be happening. Like, if you were an A-list writer or you had decent credits, no, do not give up any publishing. Right. You've already earned your stripes. Now, again, everything has to be on an individual basis. If there's something you're trying to do and it works towards your plan and in your favor in the long run, to have to give a little something up, that's a decision you make on your own. But as a general rule, you shouldn't be an accomplished writer or writer out there with some decent credits still giving up publishing just to get on something. No. Like, nah. That shouldn't even be happening.
I think what's happening, you're running into the audacity of the industry at that point, though. That gatekeeper thing, they know what they have to offer and the access they can give you. They still hold the marketing machine and they can still control whether or not your record goes or not.
Right.
So they've gotten to the point to where they started asking for merch. They started asking for touring, the whole 360 thing. Right. This is that overreach of that. Chris Brown did an interview on Drink Champs. I don't know if it's recent or a little, but it's the clip's starting to circulate. I saw it a couple of days ago. And he was talking to me, he said, I don't ever leave any of my writers uncredited. I credited all my writers.
Right.
And I have a high appreciation for that because he could be one of those artists that's like, I want your publishing. His take on that was, I'm going to credit you because you can write it and I need you to write it, but who's going to sing it like me? That was his thing.
Right. And let me clarify one thing. I want to make sure we don't equate crediting and then taking publishing.
True.
Because they're two separate things.
It's two different things.
They can take all your publishing and still give you credit.
That's true. That's true. So I may not be going.
And I'm not saying that's what Chris does.
Right.
But I just want to make sure we're clear on that.
I think a lot of that conversation, and you got to go back and watch the whole thing. A lot of that conversation, they didn't get all the way into it, but that's what he was hinting at. It's like, I'm not taking it. Because you got all of these, you got this a group called The Pact, which is a group of writers that have come together that's got this open letter about it. I'm actually going to read it in a second.
Okay.
But that whole thing that they're touching on is the fact that I'm not trying to take your money. I'm not trying to take your credit. I want you to have it because there's enough out here for all of us to eat.
Really is, yeah.
The problem is that you've got some artists that aren't thinking like that. And you definitely have the machine itself. The industry just wants as much of the revenue as they can possibly get their hands on.
Right.
So they're going to ask for as much as they possibly can until you get enough people to say, I'm not doing that. And then when it dries up, then they have to bend towards what the writers want.
Yeah, we have our interns worked on Icon's first project, right? Doing an iconic EP. Very proud of them. I think it's like 5 songs on it. And me and owner, staff, we were talking about the business side of it, and they were like, "Man, we need to be getting publishing on this. Like, what if it goes out and blows up?" Whoopty whoop. And honestly, I was like, "No, we're not." I was like, neither of us was in the room creating anything on that copyright. We paid for the studio time and we paid for it to get done, so we will own the masters. I said, but I'm not asking them for any publishing because I didn't create anything on those records. You know what I mean? And, they agreed, at the end of the day. But then I think they were just saying we need to make sure we're getting something if the thing blows up, which I agree. But since we provided the opportunity and paid for the opportunity for it to get done, we'll own the masters. I said, but I'm not asking them for publishing. I didn't create nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
is that you making that same mistake that you made the first time when he was Scooter? Is that kind of...
Well, that's not why I did it. I wasn't a fan of it with Scooter. Yeah. But I just thought it would be, and it was. Look, and don't get me wrong, because I still get checks from those records. I mean, they're small now. I mean, this is like his first album, for Pete's sake. And then there was a song that went from being a single to being another record on it. Right. That was another Fugazi, right? But either way, I still get checks from it, and the credit on that absolutely helped me get Baby Girl more work. When I was able to be like, oh, she did this record on Justin Bieber, and they looked up and saw, oh, common denominator, Justin Bieber, written by Baby Girl. It helped me get more work. Absolutely. So it worked out to our affair, and that's all I'm trying to say, really, with folks. Before you read that, it's just that, look, if you're going to give it up, just make sure it works out in your favor. Just make sure you're getting something out of it and it works to your benefit, so that you're not just giving it up for nothing in the hopes and the dreams and the prayer that it comes out and blows up. I don't care who it is. Yeah.
All right. So, full transparency, this is an old article. However, it's starting to recirculate because of what we're having a conversation about. It's officially from 2001. So, 2 years ago, but putting it out there because, like I said, it's
2 years ago.
Yeah.
2001.
I'm sorry, 2021. Thank you for fixing my math.
Rip Van Winkle over here.
A little bit of punch drunk.
It's all good.
A little punch drunk. That's what. All right, so the headline was, hit songwriters ask pop stars who stopped taking credit for their songs they didn't write. In an open letter, the writers behind songs like Dua Lipa's New Rules and Ariana Grande's Seven Rings said a growing number of artists were demanding a share of publishing royalties even if they had contributed nothing to a song. These artists will go on to collect revenue from touring, merchandising, and brand partnerships. Songwriters have only their publishing revenue as a means of income. They added that composers were often subjected to bully tactics and threats by artists and executives, which is what you were talking about earlier, who wanted to take a share of their growing. So when this open letter actually hit, it was kind of quiet.
I do want to be clear that I was never bullied and never threatened. Let's get that straight. But go ahead.
But it slowly started to snowball. We had more notable writers bringing attention to what was actually happening to them at that higher level. Then you got the up and comers and the underlings who were fighting for the scraps at the table, started to kind of galvanize and come together and stand. So I think that's where we are now. Is you've got more people who have seen that it's happening to the big writers, and it has been for years.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I think that's what the importance of that was, which is why it actually resurfaced. Like somebody actually reposted it almost as a new article, right? When a bunch of the stuff started coming out earlier this year with all of the writing stuff everywhere, and then when they started redoing the streaming stuff with was it Spotify that redid the streaming? One of the streaming companies redid their streaming numbers, and it was when Snoop said something recently about it too. Right. He straight up said, "I don't know how the F y'all pay. I don't know how y'all figure out how we get paid off of this." And,
right, yeah.
And he was like, "I don't know how you get 1 billion streams and you don't get $1 million." Right. So when you get names that size and start to say it gives credence to people like Tiffany who are on that same level doing it, and then you get the younger up and comers who actually get behind it, because they know what's possible to happen to them. And then you end up having to stop it at that point there. You have to stop it at that door. People saying, all right, well, I'm not going to allow it, like what you said. Right. But without those names doing it, there's no backbone to sustain it. So I think that's the part of this fight, this movement that we're at, is enough of it over the past few years has kind of culminated into where we are now. And with that bubble just inflating more and more across the entire entertainment industry, and more people who don't have their hands in the pot wanting more of the cookies.
Dare I say, raising awareness.
Yeah, sure, there you go. And that's exactly what it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is, though. Because I mean, even with, again, I can't relate 100% because I'm not a writer, but I want my writer friends to get paid because that's how they eat. That's how they
eat, man. Seriously. So I mean, look, you got places like L.I.F.E on podcasts. You know, you got the Music Business Coach. You're NBC, right? But seriously, these are places.
Why do you always put yourself in quotes?
Well, because all my branding is the Music Business Coach.
Okay.
But on Instagram, my tag is your Music Business Coach.
Oh my God, is this another scenario where you couldn't get the name?
Right, I couldn't put the MBC. I couldn't use the MBC. And I don't like using dashes and underscores and all that stuff. But I kind of like your MBC, though, because it is personal. And every person that's ever worked with me says it feels that way. Yeah. So I think it kind of fits. You know what I mean?
I mean, after the massage, of course. I'm sorry.
Wow. First of all, let's be clear. He's never gotten one from me.
No,
but the way that came across.
Not what I was insinuating at all. I was just saying you
have resources.
He moonlights as a masseuse. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was it.
But you have, I learned to say massage therapist. For some reason, someone told me that masseuse sounds creepy. I don't think it does. I think it sounds relaxing, but I was like, okay, I'll start saying massage therapist more. But back to the topic at hand. Mm-hmm. But you have resources like that, L.I.F.E podcast, Music Business Coach, to learn these type of things. Knowledge and understanding are going to be your greatest weapon.
Absolutely.
You know,
in everything.
In everything. So get it. And I'm gonna close with this though, and that is, I'm not saying run from it. If the opportunity truly is, but you're going to have to do your homework. Don't just go off a hype. You cannot make emotional decisions on something like this. All right. If someone comes at you with an opportunity, you absolutely cannot make an emotional decision and be like, oh, it's so-and-so. It's going to blow with it now. Still do your research, do your homework, make an educated decision. And part of the educated decision is, all right, now, how does giving this up, how can I make this work for me? Mm-hmm. And then go in with a plan. If you do it like that, it can turn into your favor, but don't just run out and do it all the time. And then you should only be doing that maybe once or twice. Again, given the opportunity. But after that, don't be giving up.
Let's actually address that
Okay.
the how you even decide to do it that once or twice thing, because in my up and coming days, mm-hmm. it's always, and I mean I've got a lot of friends whose story is similar. That time period is a whirlwind when you're up and coming, because you're trying to work with everybody and trying to discern who, the what, the where, the
so when
how,
I say once or twice,
so
we're talking about after release.
Okay.
After you've seen what's going on. Yeah. If nothing's been released yet and you find that you're confronted with 4 and 5 situations where you got to give something up, again, it's still calculated risk. Make an educated choice and decision and decide, should I do this? Because until anything came out, you haven't lost anything anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, but just, and again, at the end of the day, the situation is going to dictate the decision that you made. Because honestly, you can have a placement on, let's pick someone who's moderately successful. I don't know, say a St. John, right? Successful, doing his thing. You can have a record on St. John. That's a very plausible placement. And you're like, okay, well, I got this, you know, I'm getting work, you know, I'm never giving them my publishing again, right? And then freaking Bruno Mars is like, I want you to come in and work with me. You're not gonna be like, nah, and he's like, I want 10% of what we work on. You ain't gonna be like, no, I got a placement on St. John, I ain't giving up no. You might, okay, well, hold on. Is this gonna be in your Vegas show? Am I gonna give blah, blah, blah? Okay, well, I'll be willing to give it 10%. Yeah. So the opportunity dictates whether or not you do it, but just be smart about it.
90% of 100,000 is not the same as 90% of 5 million. So
at the end of the day, and you know, that's it. As far as those that be asking for it, look, I can say it all day. Don't be doing it. But
they gonna do it.
They gonna do it. So y'all just have to be smart about it. That's all. So look, if you got anything from it, please share, a friend. I know you got something from this. So share with somebody, because now you're that much smarter. Giving is living. Sharing is caring. I had to do the giving is living because I couldn't remember the sharing is caring part. But that's the writer in me, baby. That's the writer in me.
Off the dome. Okay.
Yeah, off the dome. All right. LifeOnPodcast.com. That's where you find everything that is our hub. You can watch, you can listen. StoneStafford.com. That's where, you know, you can follow me on all my social media platforms. If you want to schedule just an assessment thing for music business coaching, you can do that there as well. What about you?
I'm his friend, Johnny. Just Johnny Vaughn, JUSTJONYVAN. I don't do things that he does.
Hey, but without you, there would be no me. You complete me. Life on Podcast, we're out. Thanks for liking, subscribe, and share. We love y'all. We out. Peace.
So back to what I was saying.